Let's do it.
All right. So this is today is Friday, October 25. So let's wrap up the week, what we have crushed this week, and maybe what are our plan for the next week. So let's start with Tatwik.
Hello everyone. I'll start with the last question. For next week, I'm planning to revisiting the price elasticity calculations with Subot. We just want to make sure like we are using the best possible method and we are getting the most accurate results. Other than that, next week I'll probably work on besides price, getting other continuous variables like time and distance. So yeah, lots of code modification work. For what's already accomplished, so I did the following. I can actually show because it's a UI stuff. So thanks to Pablo, a few days ago we discovered there was an issue with the download button. So he's using a MacBook, I'm using Windows, so I wasn't seeing those errors. So here is the thing. When they click on export as PDF, and sometimes they like switch the tabs, I didn't have enough time to catch all the like graph IDs, so I can put it into the PDF. So I have done the following. When they click export as PDF, it pops up a message, please remain on this tab. Other than that, like they can't move the tabs until the download is completed. So once it's done, like they can go to the next page. You see, it's downloaded. In the product designer, there was this issue if they change on, like if they change the levels, generate new 5 products. The calculations here take a little longer. So even if they try to click the export as PDF, the button is disabled. We get a message. It says content is still loading. So it's more explanatory. Once it's all loaded, they can download anything they want. The problem Pablo was facing was on this page, diverse preferences. The issue was the following. The we previously had 15 graphs here, so it was a bigger PDF, and I figured out the size was the problem because once I reduced the number of graphs, he was able to download it. But that's not like how I solved the problem. Previously with Subot, we discovered that there are some small groups like 1%, 2%. This should not be included in the analysis. And for example, in the age, if I see there are lots of small groups and I don't have like 2 big groups, age will be completely removed. You see here, instead of like 15, I think I have like 8 groups. So it's all like filtered and the results will be more meaningful on this page. That's on my progress. Other than that, there was this small issue with the price. We fixed it yesterday with Subot. So uh, we have to keep the 1 point decimal rounding because sometimes when we saw an experiment when the price was in millions. So I had 1 million, 2 million, 3, 4, 5. Because I was rounding it, there was like some issue with getting the ranges. So we just kept the 1 decimal. So I was able to get like the ranges. So there will be no errors in the price uh, spectrum. So we will revisit this later to maybe make it more polished. So whenever there is like 1 million, I will round it to the 1 decimal. But whenever it says like $1,000, it will be completely rounded. So maybe like something like this. We will revisit this. That's on my part.
Uh, all right, thank you for sharing that. Next, Suhani.
Everyone. This week, I've been working on improving the survey design document by integrating the workflow of code point to into it. I went through the full documentation and I'm looking into integrating the workflow of APIs into it just to make the document a bit more easy to understand and so that it maps to our product.
All right, so yeah, Pablo.
Good morning, everyone. Been on the go doing outreach. Also spent a lot of time last night populating onboarding content on Gitbook, which will then be connected to Fern. Hopefully, when we ever get connected with Fern. I know that's still an outstanding blocker. But happy to show everyone kind of like some of the starting pieces of content that we have in play as a demo at the end of this stand-up. But that's working in our favor, and this partnership will actually go live. We have Matt's approval, so that's a big win. We also have an onboarding referral program starting with Connor so that no matter where he is, he can just send us leads directly and categorize them according to whether he wants to take the lead on said lead or pass it over to the growth team to then continue pursuing, which is great and something that we can then track and share with other champions and ambassadors that are working in the front lines to give us referrals. We also have some really big leads. Yesterday, I established another demo, this time with Dick's Sporting Goods. And we'll continue to be hunting. Next week, I think we have like 2 or 3 closing meetings, which means that we will have a lot of visibility into basically getting paperwork and moving things across the finish line. So that's it for me.
Nice, Pablo. That work that you're doing with B-Side, the B-Side organization. I had a meeting with Connor yesterday, and he wants to propose that as a template for the University of Pennsylvania's Behavioral Science Master's program as well. So that's a really good template for kind of getting this into the hands of universities and practitioners. Very nice. Is there anything you need from anyone in preparation for next week's closing meetings? Any blockers?
Fern. That's a big one. I have things on the Git book system. It needs to be approved. So I sent the release there for review and approval and merging. But yeah, Fern, I think needs to ingest that, and I don't know that step. I'm completely blocked. So anything on that front would be helpful. Everything else has been awesome. I've been indexing really hard this week on providing bugs that I found, and then some suggestions. The suggestions, though, are to be prioritized. They're not hard requirements for in the middle of the sprint. So, to be added to a backlog and go from there. But I will say that it is incredible how responsive the dev team, and in particular Tatovic, has been in leaning in and wowing me, because not only does she get it cleaned up or the bug resolved, but then she goes a step forward and actually incorporates even my suggestions, which were not expected. So the platform is, I think, in a really good state.
Dev or prod?
To be clear, test.
Okay.
Test.
Okay.
I've been using test, which is what I've been assigned to test and play with, which will eventually go to prod. So yeah, big kudos all around, but especially to Tatovic. The work has been noticed. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatovic.
Thank you. Mohawk.
Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. So this week I have crushed integrating PRG Walker visualization in our dev. So later we were facing some issues for the different environments for the test. So then I had a meeting with Madi and we fixed that as well. So we were kind of excited for that. Yeah, it's up now. And later, Subodh asked me to find one library to display the causal graph. So I found one library called Kitoscape. I already have implemented it, but with the static data. So I just want a little bit working. I just want a little bit opinion of Subodh for that. And so yeah, I can like proceed further with it. And today I'm gonna work on taking a full of population definition branch and get that thing, the slider thing in our diff. So I'll try to do it as early as possible. And I really like to thank Madi for helping me out for the PYG Walker. That's it.
Do you have any blocker?
Not really. So I was expecting Subodh to be online today just to get the opinion of him for that Kaitoscape. But yeah, I have another the population definition. So meanwhile, I can continue with that.
Okay, sure. Let me know if you need anything.
Yep, sure.
All right, so Harris, would like to go?
Yeah. Well, last week I joined the team and I'm able to connect the backend, the front end code base, and go through the backend, the front end code base, and I'm able to run the front end code base. So yeah, I can see in the front end my local computer, and I'm going to study more about front end code base so that I can contribute to the teamwork. Next week, I will finish my onboarding course and we'll start working.
What,
All right.
Harris? What is your first set of priorities?
My set of priorities is kind of find the bugs of the front end. How can I make it more fancy, more awesome front end, kind of patterns or the contents and etc.
Yeah, fancy is probably not the objective. Fancy is fancy is probably not the right measure of goodness. I would say probably simple might be a better measure of goodness. Can you sit with Madi and come up with a really like crisp objective measure of goodness on how we want to improve the front end? If anything, I think our homepage is probably too fancy.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
Okay.
shouldn't this go to design first?
Yes. Well, that's an even better idea. Yeah.
Right? Like I think like my suggestion, this is what we did at Frog Design, is everything has to go to design, the design sprint first, and it is there where engineering provides strategy and input, right? And design hardens what will eventually be ingested into the dev sprint to then build.
Yeah, so
Right.
I think the design has written a bunch of front end or website tickets, but yeah, that's a great idea. We should get Harris integrated. Yeah, so Harris.
Actually, no,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I
Okay.
I love that, and I would actually go a step further too. The suggestions that Sarah and I are making, they should go to design, not dev, because that's the right order of, you know, of process.
Well, I mean, you guys kind of are design. What's really the difference between product and design at this stage?
Well, because design also sets prioritization. I can dump 150 tickets, right? But like design can then in the design sprint say, okay, we're going to be focusing on this part of the page or this segment. I don't know, just
No,
brainstorming.
I would That's an interesting comment. I would say that design does not prioritize. I would say that product prioritizes.
So whose product?
You and Sarah, and me. I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like there's functions and then there's roles. We're not at the stage where each individual function has its own role. Each role has multiple functions. So you might be acting in some capacities as design, in some capacities as product, in some capacities as sales. So we'll probably harden that as we build our ICP and get our kind of sales motions hardened. But it's something to talk about at the product sprint on Monday. Yeah. One of the pieces of feedback from the engineering sprint, or from the engineering retrospective that we just ran, Pablo, speaks to your point. One of the spooky items that was mentioned for the last sprint was not always being entirely clear on product prioritization, and I blame myself for that. And so I'd love to have like a session in AHA with the design team where we put together the roadmap and align the tickets, because that's a failure on my part. To be improved.
Thank you, team.
All right. So, Hars, how are you with the Gitbook? Do you have any question from that? Are you good?
Me?
No, Paris.
Oh, Harris.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now I'm going through with Kitbook and front-end code base. If I have any questions, then I will let you know. Now I'm pretty good with this. Since now I don't have any product.
All right. So I want to make sure that you go through all those things and get ready for taking tasks.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So, Hadi.
Hello everyone. So this week update Monday for the release. We missed while merging. We missed some files like window which caused to not be able to run experiment, and we fixed those merging issues. And also I worked on I wrote some tests for experiments page, and also optimizing website. For now, the speed reduced from 7 seconds to 2.6,
Wow.
sometimes 2.2, and still it's not final. It needs some improvement, but the overall speed is good.
Is that in production now?
No,
So-
actually, let me. There were still there are fancy things which you said. This speed index is usually 7 seconds. This is from the live URL, and the one which I run is 2.6 seconds, and continue to improve this. There are like fancy things which you mentioned now. There are animations which uses more JavaScript, rely on JavaScript, and also 3JS libraries. Those are causing issues, and also HubSpot.
Oh, HubSpot.
So, yeah, because it takes time to a little time to load, and also the fonts are not optimized are some phones which that's not a big issue. The more issue is with the dependencies with animations,
Right.
the
Got it.
brain logo.
Oh, I love the brain logo. Can we keep the brain logo on HubSpot? We do want to get below 2 seconds. That's the limit. I forget the name of the limit, but there's some sort of website loading limit where you want to keep it under 2 seconds. I do love the brain.
Till now we did not remove anything. That looks nice. I didn't want to remove that. Uh, yeah, we have this speech with no removing anything.
Nice. Leo, let's take a look at HubSpot. We have to have a HubSpot session too because
And also regarding the HubSpot, we are just providing the URL, and it's HubSpot that provides the JS code, the HTML, CSS, fonts, and others. So don't waste your time on it. It's something that we cannot control.
Marty, who you're talking to? Me or Hadi?
To Hadi.
Okay, yeah, I will see like that this should not take more time.
oh,
All right.
never mind. I'll ask the question offline.
All right. So
Nice work, Hadi.
Avi?
Yes, I have been working on a couple of channel partnerships for sales, which I'm excited about. We are trying to close a large accounting firm, so I'm going through that contract now, which will be exciting. I was able to extend our GCP credits. We now have about $250,000 in GCP credits. However, big asterisks, they go away in 6 months. I thought we had more time, but it's actually really only 6 months. So right now I'm putting together an RFP for additional credits from some of the other firms. I'd also like to put together an RFP for really running our human baseline back tests at scale across all the LLMs. This is not going to be a 6-figure RFP. This will be a 7-figure RFP. We'll see where that goes. I would like to challenge the team, especially Alp and Subodh. They're back on Monday. They, to spend $250,000 of free credits in the next 6 months. It's fungible. They disappear. We get no benefit for not spending it. So if we can transcribe and run as much research as we can in the next 6 months, that money's available. It will be easiest to spend this money if we open up the Vertex AI API endpoints and integrate those into LangChain, so we can run all those extra endpoints. So that's now available. I've been doing more. I've been starting the business development interviews. Thank you, Sarah, for helping with that. Well, thank you, Pablo, for writing the post, and it's getting a little bit of traction. We're actually it's not getting that much traction. So like with an engineering post, we will get probably 1,000 applicants for every job we have every week. The BD posts, I would say we're getting like a few hundred. So it's probably 10%, 20% as many applicants as we are for the tech applicants. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a supply question or a demand question, but that's a data point. Take away from it what you will. And then I've been attending a bunch of like founder meetup things in the city. I've met a few folks that I'd like, Madi and Pablo, for you guys to interview. We have also a couple of boomerangs, folks that used to work with us that went back to school and now they want to come back. So I'm also figuring out what we want to do there. And then by Monday, I would like to put together a 100-day plan for the new hires. We sent out 6 offers. We got 5 acceptances. And they are starting anywhere from, this past Monday to I think November 8th is when the last one is starting. So over the next kind of couple of weeks, we're going to have folks starting, 1 or 2 per week. So I'd like to make sure that when they come here, we have a clear plan for them. And that's it. And then continuing to be a cheerleader.
I like the last one. All right, so yeah, it's my turn. Okay, so this week I interviewed 2 candidates for DevOps role, and one is today, like in a half an hour. So yep, and then I helped on the onboarding, and next is I integrated the models that Kathleen made for us into our code, and then, but there is some issue. The issue is that when we run experiment or whatever, the output sometimes is not structured and as we want. So that's the issue. I'm trying to fix that. And also the cloud models like Haiku, Opus, Sonnet, they're working. Gemini is working, Llama is working, but Mistral is not working. Yeah, that's also one issue. Yeah, so that's 8 about the GSP models, and also I helped Mohawk to build the PY to move PYG Walker. So that's on dev and test, and also there was issue with auth0 actions. There was actually 2 issues. The first issue is that we use this auth0 management API token in auth0 actions, which it expired. It was hard-coded. I fixed we have 4 actions. 3 of them uses auth0 management API token. I fixed 2 of them. I'm working to fix the other one as well. And also, there was another issue that it was assigning role to user even they have role. So this is not a blocker, but just an improvement. So next week I will be working on Langsmith, which we should have that for the trust of users, and also complete this these LLMs that we're going to.
Madi, with the Vertex LLM endpoints, or with the new LLM endpoints, you were saying that the responses are malformed. Are we using Pydantic still?
We are using Pydantic.
Because one hypothesis that I have is our performance will improve if we do not use Pydantic. Because when we use Pydantic, we're asking the language models to respond effectively in the JSON format. And there's all of this like support prompting before and after our prompt that doesn't really get exposed to us, but it's, if you look in the logs, the LLM is like being spoken to like a JSON, endpoint. And my hypothesis is that those are going to generate less human responses. And so I would say, if you remove, also Pydantic increases the amount of tokens per task by about 100%. So Pydantic effectively doubles our cost. If the only thing we're using Pydantic for is to say, which option do you choose, A, B, or C, like frankly, we can parse that ourselves. We save 50% of token costs, and potentially the responses are more human. So I would suggest run a couple of experiments without Pydantic and see if that improves performance, and it may also fix your parsing issues with the other LLMs.
I will do this, but here are something I want to mention. So if we don't use Pydantic, then our response is not that reliable that we want. For example, we get the response from LLM, and then it might not give in the format that you want. So the failure rate of parsing will increase. So this is one thing, and also since LangChain and our code is highly integrated with Pydantic, then it's like a bigger work to move out of Pydantic.
Good point. So I would say only propose removing Pydantic for the individual tasks. So just for the tasks, what do you choose, A, B, or C? And I would say that the failure rate, like one, if we had a language, if we built a little language model which said, interpret this response, is this A, B, or C? That would be another, half step. It would be another, whatever, 50 tokens. I think that would reduce the failure rate. And I don't believe the failure rate is even that high. Like, we were only looking at like 2, 3, 4% failure rates on average without Pydantic. So yes, there is a failure cost, but like, is a 4 or 5% increase in task failures worth the 50% reduction in tokens? And I'm gonna guess, I haven't proven this, the like 5% improvement in Spearman R. So like, I agree there are trade-offs. What's the magnitude of those trade-offs?
So here's what we can do. We can we can remove Pydantic and run a couple of experiments and get the result. And also we use the Pydantic, run a couple of experiments. Then we compare the result to which one is better, and then the pros and cons of it, and then we can make a decision.
Beautiful. It's very sober. Sounds good.
Okay, then let me create a task for it. All right, so I will create a task. Then
Can I do my demo or?
yes, now it's time for them.
Sure. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen, guys. I got a few things here. The first one is I have a change request right here on Gitbook under the Subconscious wiki. Made a lot of changes to make the design a little bit cleaner. I updated also content to reflect the latest pitches and language that we use to talk to our customers, and we make it more broad and commercially applicable, but same format. I also added a whole bunch of additional pages that touch on, as you can see here, knowledge base. And so we have 3 chief areas. We have the dashboard. We have how to run an experiment. Here are the steps. But you can go one by one per step and get more. We also have GIFs and like slight videos that we're going to attach to each one of the steps to make it really dynamic. We're still waiting on Yuning for the experiment analysis side of it, like how to interpret insights. I know she's done a lot on that, but I just want to make sure that we get an update on whether that content has been hardened. But when that's up, that's going to be set. And then we also incorporated a bunch of advanced tutorials. So this talks more about how to embed, for example, Subconscious platform into the tech stack of a current company with regards to market research. It talks
Pablo,
about how,
can you make the text a tiny bit bigger? This is awesome, by the way.
yeah, sorry. Let's make that easier. Is that better?
Yeah, thank you.
I zoomed in. Okay. Yeah. So just more advanced material that we can direct people to, or they can explore for themselves. How to run a program, which is a collection of experiments towards a given goal or outcome. You know, on the roadmap, we can create content around applied behavioral science and how to embed the side model with our application to make it even more relevant. That's certainly in the docket. And so if you can click there, you get a lot of great content to kind of take advantage of. And we're going to continue to build on this. But here's a very, very first step. Curious to get everyone's thoughts. Yeah, again, the content piece, like the GIFs, the snapshots, they're going to come in the next few days. Aida and Yuning are kind of finishing that, but that's going to be all set and polished. We also have onboarding through Pendo that's already gone live and released, and that's a huge win. And we're giving, therefore, the user a great onboarding experience to start out with, right? This is only version 1. It'll get better, but we have something, and that's a big win. So I don't know who reviews these changes, but it's on review. If it can be updated and merged, that would be fantastic. A question that I have is that this is basically the wiki. So I want to kind of get really clean on like what we currently have on the website. I see two links that direct to Fern, which is essentially where the wiki is. There's this link right here under docs, which takes them to this Fern page that is more technical in nature. Okay, this is not to be confused with the wiki. And what is confusing is then if I click here under wiki, it takes me to this page, which is the Subconscious wiki. But then when I click here in the wiki of this page, again, all of this using Fern, it takes me to a different wiki page. So it's very, I love to clean this up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great call. Let's I'm happy to have a session with you to help clean this up. This was like mid migration. I think this was
yeah. If I know the rules and how to play the game and like and understand where things are at, I can make the changes. You know what I mean? I'd like to learn. So yeah, we can have a session around it. But the content is there, and we're making progress, and that's a big one. The second thing, by the way, here's all the content we want to publish.
Hold on, can you go back to the wiki to the Git book? I love this, by the way. Is this something? Yeah, beautiful here. And we can publish this. It'll get into the wiki in instantly. But is this something that we want to? Like, is your vision integrating this with Pendo and the in-app like tutorials, or you want the same content? Do you want these bi-directional links?
We have, yeah, that's a great question. So yes, they're supposed to work hand in hand together. Okay, the in-app Pendo is designed to basically come up as modules when it recognizes that there's a new user. However, if a user wants to, for example, learn more, right, go deeper in a subject, the link will be redirected to our knowledge base, where there's way more content and they can see the whole process, from beginning to end, right? So they're designed to work together, but the pieces of content are also slightly different because in the app it's much more summarized and more digestible, if you will.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
But we're
Right.
factoring it in. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, and then you can get videos on here, and you can point to additional help.
Correct.
This is really good.
That's correct.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. This is really
The
really
other
good.
thing that I wanted to ask is HubSpot. I've been giving some thought around how do we create ambassadors. The first and chief one being Connor. We have created a form that we ingest his leads, and it'll tell us within that form, all the contact information of said person, which will automatically funnel into the CRM. And depending on his selection of whether he wants to pursue that lead or wants us, the growth team, to pursue that lead, it'll generate a series of automated tasks for us. So we have visibility into everything that comes in, but the best part is we also get to track any and all leads that are coming from a champion or an ambassador, which means that we can replicate this to as many ambassadors as we'd like, right? One of the questions, or one of the things that was really cool that I talked about with Connor, is this notion of having potentially a landing page dedicated to him.
Oh, I love that.
And in HubSpot, we have the ability to do that. I just need to connect the Subconscious.ai URL with HubSpot. And I think we attempted it, but I get some errors. I put that on the engineering channel, and I'd love to, I guess, connect with someone to kind of get this across the finish line. Basically, I get this issue where it's like checking records, it's trying to verify, and then boom.
Yeah,
DNS.
we need to set up a DNS record.
I can create everything else. I just need this resolved. That's all.
I can do this for you.
Okay. I love it. I love putting Avi to work. I love it. He does a lot. All right. That's it for me.
Nice, Pablo. Good demo. Good demo.
All right. Do we have any other demo? All right, so I think that's it. So, yep. So if there is nothing else, then have a great Friday, and let's stay in the channels, work together, and let's crush. So have a great time, and let's end it down.
Happy Friday.